Hey everyone. Most of the amazing insights we get them when we interact with the world outside of the little box we spend most of our thinking into. When we speak with other people, right? People who are perhaps outside of our little professional tribe, things that occupy our thinking most of the time. For me, it's the therapy and coaching space. And this is something that came from that. So I want to share it with you. It has been tormenting my head a bit, and I really want to share it with you because it's important. Someone asked me, "What style are you as a therapist?" And I was like, I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, do I even have a style?" And I mean, of course I have. Of course I do. We all have, right? But my immediate reaction was, "What do you even mean by that?" Right? What do you even mean? How the notion of style applies to doing what I do, no matter how we call it. I'm not sure therapy is the appropriate term, but you know, let's leave semantics aside for the moment. And I mean, there are so many different like layers to that again that I was like, ah, oh. So, for example, right, and they saw my confusion, right? And the first thing I want to say is that, like, obviously, when people choose us, whether it is for therapy, for friendship, for any sort of relationship, right, that requires some opening up, it is because they see something in us, right? And together with that, they told me, like, they offered me some examples. They were like, oh, yeah, like, one therapist I had was very like blah blah blah. I'm not gonna use someone's exact words here, and the other was like the other, and the other way. And this started this association like of thoughts in my mind since then, and I was like, so interesting because first of all, if you are choosing someone's service, right? Like, check what other people say about them. That's the best way to see their style. Because, for example, if you ask me, I consider myself playful. But the people who work with me, they say I am empathetic and compassionate. I mean, obviously, both can be combined. But, it's like I see the same thing from a very different lens. I am empathetic and compassionate in a playful way. So that's one thing, right? That's one layer of that. That all of us, we are not so good mirrors to ourselves, right? If we see ourselves from our own perspective, we see only part of the picture. So for me, that's one big thing that got verified again from this conversation. And that's why it's good having interactions with people, because they give us different lenses, different mirrors. That's what, in a supercharged way, therapy and coaching does. But that's also what our friends do to some other degree, right? That's why social relationships are so important. And and it's good to have this in our mind when we interact with other people, right? That it's a different lens. It's a different lens, and that's why it's useful. And that's why also, it may not agree with us, and that's why it's useful. Another aspect that struck me about that is the idea that a therapist, a coach, a facilitator, let's call it how we want to call it, is supposed to have a style. Like, I was like, what's that about? What does it mean to have a style? And so when I understood what they meant, my response was that I'm variable. I'm variable. I mean, I have some, a baseline which is around what I can play with, but I try to be variable to match the other person. If someone comes with a very, up energy, happy, I'm not gonna be like very serious and reserved. This is serious business. While on the other hand, if someone comes really concerned, I'm not gonna be, "Whoa, come on, let's fix everything," Off you go now. So I think this variability is good, right? And it's a question how much we bring it in our various interactions. And we always have it. The question is how much consciously we bring it. And I mean, for me, that's one of the skills in doing facilitatory work with people. Being able to adjust. It's like acting a bit, It's like acting a bit from a good place. And that's very useful, right? So I never understood the notion that and that's for me, that's where the playfulness comes in. That there is this modulation. There is compassion and empathy and care, but the compassion and empathy and care contains this modulation. This modulation is part of the compassion and empathy and care. Well, if one has this very fixed style that they try to, stay very distant, very separate from the person they're supposed to help, I, I don't know, or someone should be extremely friendly. What if someone needs something different? I think people, right? And that's the fundamental thing for me in this. Now I realize it as I'm sharing it with you at this moment. That's the fundamental thing. People, we meet well or in the best way possible with others. Not when we try to keep to ourselves, not when we try to match them exactly, as people say with rapport, right? Like mimic them, do what they do to build a connection. No, 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 no. It's not how this works. I truly believe we build the best connection with others when we try to meet them and connect with them by honoring our own baseline. Because then we remain authentic. And, it shows that we try to meet them from an honest point of view. But also because we try to meet them from this honest point of view, there is some honest struggle that comes with it, right? It's not just imitation, it's an honest struggle to approach them. Which can be minor. It doesn't mean we experience it as a struggle, but there is like an effort, like that I'm here and I want to come to you. And it's this effort that I believe creates the connection, and not so much that whether we keep like a huge distance or we, try to be exactly like the other person is. Yeah, I think it's this effort to meet others while acknowledging where we are. I don't know. What do you think about that? And yeah, this video had nothing to do about my event about navigating uncertainty. Okay, but what do you think about the content of this video? Thank you.